All right, budget 2026 Bud. Major discretional funded program name, dollars changed for the 2025 million. Brief description of program recommended reduction. America's First Opportunity Fund, 20 plus positive 2,900 million or $2.9 billion. New American First Opportunity Fund would focus with its strategic investments with Americans safer, the stronger, with a more prosperous. The American First Opportunity would be able to support some people the most, and during critical partners such as India and Jordan, some supports activities critical to keeping things safe and reparations counter to other than near peer rivals. New activities strengthen the Army national security priorities. Development Financials Corporation, 2.82 billion budget increase for the U.S. international support for the U.S. national security. American interest of several billions along generates loans and generates would generate terms of the taxpayer reduce resilient foreign aid with investment include $3 billion for the new revolving fund to allow the Development Finance Corporation to recycle the realized returns of the initial investment without further operation. Cuts, reduction, consolidation, economic support, development of the system with the Democracy Fund, Assistant European, Eurasia, and Central Asia. A negative 8.326 billion U.S. economy developed has been funded with the radical leftist priorities include the climate change, with diversity, equity, with the inclusion of the lesbian, gay, bi, transsexual, queer activities around the world. The budget eliminates funding for the program combined with the duplicative accounts with a single AIOF or America First Opportunity Fund, which supports foreign programs to serve America's interests. Advanced President object for the broad. The budget simultaneously strengthens the defense of Development Financing Corporation, shift America's global posture from hands over the investment return to the positive of the taxpayer while making America safer and stronger for more prosperous. International Disaster Assistance, Mitigation, Refugee Assistance, Emergency Refugee Mitigation Assistance, International Humanitarian Assistance, negative $3.207 billion received as unaffordable level of disaster assistance excessive of what other countries contribute. Budget provides $1.5 billion to the emergency relief mitigation assistance for the president used for the discretion consolidates wasteful duplicated accounts and nearly $2.5 billion in the international humanitarian assistance account to fund disaster relief to fulfill the president's foreign policy aims. The state and U.S. aids at negative $2.462 million consistently. Executive Order 14169 reevaluating, realigning the United States foreign aid budget, ensure the foreign spending with the efficient with a consistent UN foreign policy under America First agenda. The budget with the USA with the Department of State to meet with the current needs of the S and eliminates non-essential staff that were hired for the DEA. The DEI performing practice in instances. Executive Order 14151 ending radical wasteful government DEI program and preferences. International narcotics control law enforcement. Negative $1.16 billion major for the international narcotics control law enforcement funds goes to the reforming criminal justice system for the foreign governments over the narcotics enforcement primarily undertaken with the Drug Enforcement Administration, Central Intelligence, FBI, and the Department of Homeland Security for the Department of Defense. Elements of the budget eliminated for the rule of law. The program distant countries provide with $1.25 million to fund programs for the support of the counter drug, organized crime, and border security mission for the directly impact with the United States. Peacekeeping missions at a negative $1.614 billion budget does not provide the funding wasteful United Nations. Other peacekeeping missions to do the release failure with a high level of assessment of the United States history of the paying for more than first fair with international peacekeeping activities for the United Nations. Peacekeepers have been accused of the narcotics trafficking across the multiple continents, especially Central African Republic, where peacekeepers smuggled gold and diamonds and drugs. This says voluntary contributor to the international organization, negative $1.716 billion budget positive must as of the voluntary contract with the UN with the international organization, UN regular budget, UN educational scientific cultural organization, World Health Organization. This is consistent executive order 14199 withdrawing United States with the ending with the funding with a certain United States organization reviewing United States support all international organization preserve the maximum negotiation leverage president of the chief of the international organization of the American Initiative First Opportunity funding he chooses. Educational and cultural changes, negative 691 million. Inspector General reports of the document of inefficient fraud and inefficient wasteful program expense for the U.S. taxpayer for foreign students receive technical and high demand training to the level to take for the skills overseas, but included back to near peer rivals having deprived of American students to pay for the acquire of the skills of the program is no longer affordable. Transition initiatives, negative 75 million. Transition initiative fund short-term with assistance with the aims to shape political outcome of the distant country with a particular impact of the U.S. security. The often control of the further destabilization fund with a wasteful change with a non-government organization. Partisan cutouts pushing the leftist agenda around the world. Budget eliminates the transition initiative account. Complete crisis funding, negative 55 million. Complete crisis funding is a catch-all flush national bond building project with particular rather offering life-saving assistance, creating beneficial ties to the United States if the weaponized for the DEI and lesbian, gay, and bisexual queer policies implemented with the recipient country for the condition of all aid of small business with no connection with the United States. The budget eliminates the work ill-struck account redirects for crisis fund with the IHA and ERMA accounts where they further the President's American First objectives around the world. National Endowment of Democracy, negative 315 million. Remember the Biden administration for the start of the Russia-Ukraine war with the National Endowment of Democracy block public access with the grant details have it near with the provided the disclosure manual of the federal law. March 2025 to discover the National Endowment of Democracy found with the Ukraine Disformation Organization with the docs for the U.S. journalist call for the prosecution of the allies of the president with attack to Vice President Joe Kent with the otherwise foreign imposed Russian Federation National Endowment of Democracy found with the non-informing infamous Disinformation Index Toxic Foundation targeted blacklisted conservative media with the like of the Federalist New Max TAC and with the blaze of new NYP, etc. Budget eliminates for the National Endowment of Democracy. Global health programs and families, negative $6.23 billion. United States, the largest global contributor to the program, to provide so-called family planning services. The NGOs have funded abortion, standing with a directly conflict with the president's acting with reinstatement with the Mexico City policy with a budget protects the life and prevents pro-abortion agenda that have promoted abroad with the taxpayers' dollar. The budget focused on the life-saving assistance preventing infectious disease from reaching the United States. U.S. President emergency plan with the AIDS for the relief funding is preferred for the current beneficiary. Food for Peace, Title II, negative $1.619 billion. Food for Peace spends $1.6 billion in shipping food overseas, which often takes years or more to arrive, intended with the dissemination of the result of about one-third loss of the waste. Program also the distorts undermines local and regional market with where the aid that could be purchased for the less with less waste. Further, there are more efficient food aid program with the budget preserves. Other international programs contribute to global environmental facility climate investment change, negative 275 million. Budget proposed with eliminated contribute to global environmental facility climate investment funds, promote working green new deal policies, misaligned administrative policy. Alright, with the contributions of multilateral development banks, Africa Development Bank and the Africa Development Fund, negative 550 million, consistent with the Executive Order 1469, reevaluating, realigning United States foreign aid. Budget proposed eliminated with the contribution of the African Development Fund that is not currently aligned with administrative property. The budget also includes $3.2 billion over 3 years for U.S. government contributed to the International Development Association 21, while the other donors for the institution should not take one or more of the burden share of the fulfilled for the president promised no longer dole to foreign dollars that would not return investment for the American people. Other Treasury international reductions, negative $86 million budget. Likewise, proposed to eliminate the several Department of Treasury for the International Assistance Program, including the debt reconstruction account with a contribution to the International Fund for the Agricultural Development and Global Agricultural Food Security Program. This proposal is fulfilled for the president and promises to put with America's first eliminate wasteful foreign aid and spending. Alright, Department of Education increases charter schools plus $60 million according to the National Assessment of the Educational Program or educational process. 70% of the 80th graders are below the proficiency in reading. 72 are below the proficient in math. Federal control has replaced local decision-making, creating one-size-fits-all of the system with disseminating students' achievement. Centralized air-approved approach weakened the state's ability to deliver with a quality educated and eroded parents' direction of children's education. More local schools option for the needed to the budget investment of $500 million, $660 million increase. Experiment the number of high-quality charter schools that have proven the tracker of improving students' academic achievement and giving them the parents' main choice, more choice of education over their children. Cuts and reduction consolidation preserves Title I, streamline K through 12 programs. Negative $4.535 billion budget provides streamlined flexibility funded directly state, so they have the discretion and support of the activity to make the most sense of the respect for the community, so long as the overdue consolidation would lower the substantial cost for the both administration compliance to ensure that a greater proportion of the funds provided with the support of the funds, students of the family with the K-12 with a simplified funding program consolidated to 18 competitive formulas and grants into the new $2 billion formula grant designed to reduce educational influence of the reduce the bureaucracy, but at the same time on the budget and deliver the president promise of the preserving full funded Title I supplemental federal finance assistance school district for the children of low-income families with a new simplified funding structure for the fewer federal staff that empower the state with the district with make spending the decision based on the needs with a consistent with a more reduction on the workforce. Executive orders new approach all allows the state with the district with the focus of the core objects, math, reading, science, and history without distraction with the DEI with the weaponization previous and administered. Special education simplified funding program, that's with a dash. We'll skip that one. TRAO programs granting generally early awareness ready for the undergraduate programs are Gear Up, negative $1.57 billion. The trio and the Gear Up are the relic of the past with the financial investments were needed to motivate institutional higher education to give low income schools with the increase of the exit for the lack of the IHEs or institutional higher education member of the state and local school district with the need of additional support with the prepared low-income student for college totally with the pendulum and swung on the cross of the exit for college, not an obstacle for the student over the limited meaning of the institution higher education be on one of the resources engaged with the K-12 schools in the communities, recruit students within once for the students are on campus for the success of their graduation, renewed focus for the academics, galactus and accomplishment of the institution higher education rather than engaging work ideology with the federal taxpayer subsidies would be welcome and change for the students in the future of the nation. Federal work study negative $880 million. The budget return with the federal work study but it's a state with the institution higher education financial benefit is consistent with the administrative effort of the more decision closer since reduced federal footprint in its current form of the federal work study is handed out by the work university subsidy with the federal taxpayers who can pay for their own employees referred to the poorly targeted program to redistribute with the remaining funding with the institutions for the most low income students provide a wage subsidy of the game with career oriented opportunities to improve the long-term employment outcomes for the student. Supplemental education opportunity with the grants at negative $910 million. Supplemental education opportunity contribute to the rising cost of the institution of higher education have to do with the radical leftist ideology and grid with investment with the student with the staff with the duplicate with the less targeted with the Pell Grants. For example, the undergraduate student with a higher family income comes to receive a larger award average than the similar student situated undergrads the lowest family income of $1,019 compared to $891. In addition, nearly 40% of the supplemental education opportunity grant is awarded through the private institution have their own agenda for the federal local income students. But only 19% awarded for the public two-year college will serve with the highest proper proportion for the low-income students of the program is ineffective poorly targeted for the inconsistent administrative for the priorities. English language, negative $890 million. To end with the overreach of the Washington rights over the state with the oversight of the education budget proposed for the eliminate with the misname of the English language acquisition program, which actually de-emphasized the English primacy for the NGO for the state with the encouraged bilingual bilingualism. Historically low reading scores of all the students with the means of the state and the community's need to unite, not with the divide of the classroom, using evidence-based literacy and instruction materials to improve outcomes for all students. Adult education negative 729 million. K-12 outcomes improve with the education return state, but it would be like remedial education adults less necessary for the budget redirect for the research of the program more directly prepared student with the meaning of the career of the reallocation would also be better support with the initiative of the workforce aligned with the apprenticeship focus of the activity department seek to promote through the strategic investment of the current fiscal year further the program of the dismal result of the most of the recent reported year only 43% of the person had any measurable skills gained. Migrant education special programs and migrant students negative 428 million. Budget eliminated the program of the work of the tyranny of the children and academic success and encourage the movement from the red of the stability of the consistent single location of these programs that not have been effective with the act extremely cost, encourage ineligible non-citizens of the U.S. institution higher education stripping reach over the American students. The ED program and administrative with a negative 127 million with the department wings down with the operation of the reduce of the workforce with the budget provided with the 293 million with the program and administrative with the reduction of 127 million or 30%. Although this is amounts to reflect with the considerable reflect with the need for staff with the cost remain with the program and administrative with the funding is need with the personal with the compensation benefit of the staff with the pertaining fixed variable costs now in personal category of the cost from the deferred registration, resignation, voluntary retirement, reduction in the force. Funding improvement over the post-secondary over the graduate assistance over the areas of the national need at negative 195 million in institution higher education state with the state, not the federal government, but the reasonable with the funding institution reform with the initiative of the program. Additional resources have allowed for the colleges under the university to fund the ideology study with the students will have the reason with the tuitional cost of the programs observed the funding for the improvement of post-secondary education and by using the initiative of the unrelated with the student with the international reforms included with the earmarking of $1.2 million San Diego Community College at Gay Pride Center staffing, strengthening institutions, negative 120 million. The initial institution higher education states, local communities, federal, not the federal government, shall be retrieved with official help of the institution promoting student success. These funds have not been proposed with the DEI, but it consists of the administrative of the priorities of the executive orders, not with the responsible of the federal taxpayer to support with the new guided pathways village expanding currently in communities creating with a new ethical pride inclusion center over the historically unobserved students including the LGBTQ plus students teacher quality partnership negative 70 million budget provides federal taxpayer dollars weaponizing quarter with a new teacher for the instructor for the nonprofit the grantee with the need with the U with the taxpayer for the fund with the training teacher for the education agency for the diverse and ideologies training materials include with an inappropriate and unnecessary task topics such as critical race theory of the DEI sexual justice activism, anti-racism, instruction on while privilege of the white supremacy. In addition, many of the grants include with the teacher, with the staff, of recreating studies, strategies implemented implicitly, explicitly based on race. Example of grants and application research, recruiting practitioners, personnel with the institution responsible for the system, and inequity with critical access of their own processes, practices, receiving the professional development workshops, equity with the training on the topics such as the building control, competency, with dismantling racial bias, center equity of the classroom, acknowledging and responding to systematic form of the oppression and inequality, including racism, ableism, gender-based discrimination, homophobia, and ageism. Building historical, social-political understanding of the race and racism and the international race, marginalism, oppression of the student, and planning and instruction, relationship building of the discipline assessment, provided with the targeted practice, currently relevant response of the teaching of the abolitionist of the pedagogies, issue of the diversity of the classroom management, and providing space for the critical reflection and help educate for the confront bias of the head of the transformation, conservation about equality. Eliminating the program would also state with the district have more control over the teacher preparation, recruitment, and retention based on their local context. training and advisory service with the equity assistance. A negative $7 million budget eliminates equity assistance with the indoctrinated children. Funds have been weaponized to force local districts to implement Washington direct DEI's practices against the will of the considerate administrator of the policy to return the control of the education of the state within the district. The intending with the program would result of the full merit-based practice at the school, but ensure the district do not have the implemented with the weaponized woke policy with the program is in effect, but it has continuously failed to meet with the most performance measures. Child care assets means of the parents and schools project proposed that the child care asset means of parents and schools may become subsidized children or parents of the college unaffordable duplicative funding instead of the security of the child care development block grant. Further, institutional higher education could offer accommodate with the needs of the many of the student population may do, and that's at negative $75 million. Howard University, the budget is negative $64 million. Budget reduces the Howard University 2021 budget level to more sustainable support of the national-only federal chartered historically black college university. The 2025 is exactly the amount included with the conclusion one-time $300 million multi-year federal commitment to the construction of a new hospital. With civil rights and the Office for the Civil Rights, negative $49 million to review for the DEI without Title IX with a transgender case for the budget of the OCR Office of Civil Rights, $191 million reduction, $49 million or 35% when compared with the 2024 with an active level, going through massive backlog 2025. Right size and consistent with the reduction, cover the department overall smaller with the federal role of K through 12 with low secondary education. This funding level, the Office of Civil Rights will continue to ensure the school of the institution receive the federal financial assistance of the education programs activity come the federal civil rights and present executive orders while removing the ability to push the DEI programs and promote radical transgender ideology. Our Department of Health and Human Services.